हेलो एंड गुड इवनिंग एवरीबॉडी। इट इज 9th of August 2024 और आज है फ्राइडे। मुझे बिल्कुल भी बताने की जरूरत नहीं है कि आज के दिन हम क्या करते हैं। तो चलिए लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द वीकली राउंड अप विद एके, क्योंकि ये वीक भी जैसा गया और मंडे स्टार्टिंग जैसी एके ने प्रेडिक्ट करी थी वैसे ही मूव करी है। तो समझते हैं आगे क्या होने वाला है। लेट्स ब्रिंग हिम इन। हाय अंकित, हाउ आर यू?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm trying to be good. After what has happened in the market, I'm just trying to be good. तो
Correct.
क्या हुआ?
क्या हुआ? Well, Rachit, I'm sorry I keep telling you this, but I keep having this. I told you so movements. जैसे कि मैंने last week बोला था, I sounded a very strong word of caution कि अगले
Right,
week में please be very very careful, very very cautionary. Uh,
right,
it was kind of expected because you know how the week closed, last week closed. Uh, while we saw a 25,000 level of Nifty, and then we saw a sharp correction the very next day to close. That itself, kind of proved it that thoda under the circumstances, under the current circumstances where the whole world is going haywire right now. तो वो एक लेवल सस्टेन होना थोड़ा मुश्किल था, वो तो लग ही रहा था डेफिनेटली, विच इज व्हाई आई टोल्ड यू कि मंडे कुड बी अ गैप डाउन ओपनिंग, एंड आई वाज राइट इन द सेंस दैट इट वाज वे बियॉन्ड माय इमेजिनेशन आल्सो. मैंने नहीं सोचा था कि 800 पॉइंट का ड्रॉप मिलेगा मंडे को, तो वो मैंने नहीं सोचा था. मैंने सोचा बाय गैप डाउन आई मेंट वाज 300 400 पॉइंट्स गैप डाउन, इनफ टू शेक थिंग्स अप. Because at 24,800, 25,000, all investors were on a different high altogether. Because क्या है, उस भाव में किसी को मंदी दिखी नहीं रही थी,
right.
कोई मंदी की बात ही नहीं कर रहा था, जबकि
Which somehow also includes me. I would include myself into it because I was also not very keen, and frankly, I had a very bullish position. So I
हाँ,
was not very happy with the way it behaved on Monday.
yes. But then you know what? But then you know, keeping our market levels on one side, and if we
Right,
see what was happening in the world and what is still happening, okay, the data from US and China are not very encouraging.
right.
Economic data is not very encouraging. uh, Geopolitical tensions are continuing. पहले तो मिडल ईस्ट में थी.
Rising as well.
या इट्स राइजिंग. पहले तो मिडल ईस्ट में थी. हर वीक कुछ ना कुछ एक नया आता है. लाइक आई टोल्ड यू लास्ट वीक दैट दे किल्ड द इजरायली हिजबुल्लाह लीडर, which is kind of shaking up or instilling fear into the market. Okay,
Right.
दिस इज वन थिंग. और अब तो इस वीक तो आप समझिए, मच मिडिल ईस्ट तो फिर भी दूर है, बांग्लादेश मच क्लोजर टू होम at our border, it's such a big unrest is happening. And
Right.
because their ex PM now is in our country, you know you cannot deny the fact that our eastern border is kind of compromised right now.
Right.
So ऐसी situation में to sustain a high level of markets, whatever be the fundamental, I'm not talking about fundamental, I'm only talking about the uncertainty factor of the market. इतनी uncertainty में इतना ऊपर maintain करना और वो रखना बहुत मुश्किल है. In fact, what has happened, let me just finish. What has
Right.
happened in this whole week is that ये सारे global factors की वजह से अपना जो कॉर्पोरेट रिजल्ट्स है वो काइंड ऑफ कहीं पे सबसाइड हो गया है. मतलब न्यूज में उतना फॉलो नहीं हुआ है, बिकॉज इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एनी गुड रिजल्ट्स, दे वर एनीवेज वेरी फ्यू. Most results have been disappointing. Any good result also were not very, the stocks were not rewarded because the overall market was so volatile and down that the individual stocks were not rewarded. Yeah,
Right.
you were.
So, uncertain week, uncertain geopolitical situation, the yen carry trade news coming in, and US recession and everything playing and creating problems in the market. Somehow now we are confused and we want some serious guidance as to how you see the week coming up, and what are the factors that we should look into and understand as to how do we take it ahead.
देखिए रचित, the week coming up, I think will be more or less in the same line, right? As of now, as of now,
Right.
with but but I am hopeful that this coming week will be better than this week gone by. Definitely for sure. Uh,
Right.
in what terms? In terms of volatility, I feel the coming week will be much less volatile. जिस तरह से विक्स गया है, मतलब विक्स करीब 14 साढ़े 14 पे क्लोज किया था लास्ट वीक.
Hmm.
मंडे विद ऑल दैट करेक्शन इट वेंट अप टू 23, बियॉन्ड
Right.
23,
In
which is a
single trading session.
in single trading session, which is so to speak insane amount of jump. And
Right.
then if you see the graph of VIX from Monday till Friday, it has gone back slowly to again 15 and a half levels. So so that is one encouraging thing, I would say, that things are this kind of shows that things are settling down. Volatility should come in control right now.
Okay.
एक बहुत बड़ा पॉजिटिव देख रहा हूँ. दूसरा, आफ्टर 2 or 3 attempts this week, of 200-300 पॉइंट ऊपर जब जाता है and it gets sold into the, we saw that on Wednesday, we saw that on Thursday also. So after 2 or 3 attempts of that, the bulls have maintained their stance today on Friday. So so today a 300 odd point rally on Nifty actually resulted in Nifty closing 300 points up.
Right.
So we are looking at what 24,367 levels right now. Okay. Strictly speaking, technically on the graph, it is very close to. I would not say it is broken above this short-term moving averages, but it is very close. It is within the 10-point range of short-term moving average. So if again, the weekend, किसी ने किसी पे अटैक नहीं किया या कहीं कुछ कुछ बड़ा लफड़ा नहीं हुआ, तो मेरे को लगता है कि मंडे शुड ideally gap up and hopefully sustain. Please,
Okay.
please note the words. I said ideally gap up and hopefully sustain. So I'm not looking at. I'm looking at market sustaining in the next week. Not. I will be very skeptical if the markets do a very crazy gap up like they did a crazy gap down. वो
Right.
होता भी नहीं है because on the way up we are always as investors we are always double caution. जब जब ऊपर जाना होता है, जब खरीदने की बात आती है तो हम लोग बहुत थोक बजा के खरीदते हैं, और जब बेचने की बात आती है तो हम पहले बेचते हैं फिर सोचते हैं.
Right. Right.
तो
That's the thought process behind equity markets. And usually ऐसा होता है ना कि इनिशियली जब आते हैं तो कुछ भी खरीद लेते हैं और फिर वो उससे इतनी पिटाई हो जाती है कि फिर ठोक बजा के ही खरीदना पड़ता है.
correct.
Got it.
So I'm looking at a good week coming ahead compared to what we have seen this week, definitely. But I'm still not looking at a sharp, turn towards the levels we were in the week before. मुझे अभी 24 700 800 25,000 वो लेवल नहीं दिखता है. इनफैक्ट वो होना भी नहीं चाहिए. The market should understand, should stabilize first, and then move ahead. That will be much longer sustainable. That will be much more, how do I say? It will be much more realistic rather than 800 700 800 पॉइंट एक बार में जंप करे तो वो रैली रियलिस्टिक नहीं होगी. फिर प्रॉब्लम क्या होगा कि lot of people will get tempted into jumping
Right.
into the market at that level, and again they will be trapped because again अगर next day 300 पॉइंट गिर गया तो खत्म बात.
Right. So for next week, if nothing happens and if there is no geopolitical or global economy news coming in, we should expect more stable movements in the market, but we don't see a high in near future. It would be stable, and it would have a very rational movement. I believe this is what how we should conclude it.
Yes, yes, yes. It should. If it's not having a rational movement, I advise to stay out. Something which is
Okay.
something which is within a see. A little bit of upside is right now rational, in my opinion.
Right. Right.
मैं मंदी नहीं देख रहा हूँ, मैं तेजी ही देख रहा हूँ, बट एक लेवल की तेजी देख रहा हूँ. आई एम नॉट लुकिंग एट बैक टू 25,000 or 24,800 levels as if nothing happened, because
Right.
clearly a lot has happened and globally. So मैंने पहले भी बोला, मैं अभी बोल रहा हूँ, India cannot run in isolation.
Right.
Globally if things are bad, हमें वो चीज अकाउंट फॉर करनी पड़ेगी अपने ट्रेड्स.
ओके, सो जियोपॉलिटिकल इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स, इन दोनों तरफ से स्टेबिलिटी आती है तो वी माइट सी स्टेबल मूवमेंट, बट if there is a sudden rise or sudden fall, it is more advisable to stay away from the market and don't get into any kind of trap.
Yes, correct.
चलिए, गॉट इट. नेक्स्ट वीक का आइडिया आपसे ले लिया, एंड आई होप मंडे जो आप गैप अप और एक सस्टेन्ड रैली देख रहे हैं वो आए, थोड़ा और ब्रीदर मिले इन्वेस्टर्स को और ट्रेडर्स, and let's hope the market remains stable, and then again we'll catch up and see you next week. So it was amazing talking to you, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week again.
Thank you. Likewise, Rajat. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.